Welcome class 11 to the first video class. Already we have done in our introduction that interactive classes chapter 1 and 2. Now we have to start with the third chapter. But before going on the third chapter, I will just give you a summary of chapter 1 and 2. In chapter 1, we have studied about the diversity in living world, that is, what is living. We started with what is living. Any organism, it can be a plant, animal or microorganism that shows certain characters of living things, like it can grow, it can respire, it can breathe, it can excrete. All those characters are found in living organisms. So being living means showing some of the characteristics of living things, like they can grow, they can divide, the cells can increase in number, that is living. So all organisms grow, they replicate, they make their own copies. And next one is reproduction is a character of living organisms. You know, each and every organism try to increase in their number so that they can continue with their race. If living organisms fail to reproduce, then all the members of that species which are present today, they will die and they will come to an end, and it will lead to extinction of that particular organism. Like dinosaurs are already extinct, you know that, because no more members of that organism is present today. It means all of them have become extinct. Then next we have to study the second character, living things. So metabolism. What is metabolism? Metabolism is the sum total of all the biochemical reactions that occurs in a living organism is called metabolism. Okay. So it is sum of two activities, that is anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism means all the constructive activity which occurs, like we can say photosynthesis is an anabolic process in which glucose or the organic compound is synthesized in the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. It results in the growth of the organism. So it is a constructive process. Whereas the second process, all the destructive process which occurs in a living organism that results in the breakdown of cells is called catabolism. Like example, we can say respiration is a catabolic process. Why? Because during respiration, the food or the glucose molecules are broken down to release energy in a stepwise manner with the help of enzymes. So you may have read about respiration in lower class, that is till class 10. Respiration is a catabolic process during which energy is released from the burning of food. That is, when the food is oxidized, glucose is oxidized, energy is released. So living organisms has a definite cellular organization of body is defining feature. Defining feature means, what is the meaning of defining feature? I will say, all those characters without which living things are not possible, that is called defining feature. And the others are called non-defining feature. So the defining property of living organisms is consciousness also. Consciousness means they can respond to their stimuli. You know what is stimulus? Happening or changes in the surroundings which brings a response in a living organism is called stimulus. Like all living things will respond to their stimulus. Like if we are hungry, we'll eat food. If someone pricks our finger or our skin with the help of a needle, we'll get the pain. It means we can sense what is there with the help of our sense organs and the skin. But non-living things, will they do so? No. They cannot respond to the external stimuli. Then what is biodiversity? Biodiversity means the vast variety of living organisms. Bio means life, diversity means different variety of plants and animals which are found in our surroundings is called biodiversity. Then what is nomenclature? Nomenclature means giving names to all the living organisms. Like we know that all the plants and animals have a particular local names in their local languages, which is quite confusing and it may change from place to place. Like one example is orange in English. In Hindi it is called narangi, santra. So many names are there. The same orange is known by different names in different local languages. So it may create confusion. That's why there is a proper system of naming all the organisms which is called binomial nomenclature that was given by Carolus Linnaeus, in which each and every organism has two names. The first name is the genus name, like human beings. It is called Homo Homo is the genus name starting with a capital letter. This is called genus name. And the second name, that is sapiens, it is a species name, Homo sapiens. So this one starts with a small letter. Okay. So there are certain rules for binomial nomenclature, like it can be underlined or you can write it in italics. It consists of two names. The first name is the genus, the second one is species. Genus name starts with a capital letter, species starts with a small letter. Then what is identification? Identification means whenever a new organism, plant or animal or any other microorganism is discovered, first of all we have to identify. So identification is the process in which we identify the living organisms, and then we do classification, means we divide or we select whether that particular plant, animal, that organism is a plant-like or animal-like, what type of characters it is showing. Accordingly we put them in a particular group according to the characters which it will show. Okay. Now biological names are generally written in Latin. This is the Latin name of, or the scientific name of man, that is called the scientific name Homo sapiens. Similarly, mango is called Magnifera indica. And the first word is the genus, the second one is species. Both the words in a biological name, when handwritten, they are separately underlined. You can see I have underlined them separately. And the first word denoting the genus starts with a capital letter. The second one, word which denotes the species, starts with a small letter. Now, what is classification? The process by which we group them into categories according to some characters which are observed. That is called observable characters. Now, what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is all the living organisms are classified into different groups or taxa. And this process of classification is called taxonomy. What is systematics? The next word is there. The branch in which we study systematics, it comes from a Greek word. Systema means systemic arrangement of organisms, and Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication of book in which he had classified all the plants and animals. Now, what are taxonomic categories? Taxonomic categories refers to the names given to the different groups of organisms, starting from the highest group, which is known as kingdom. So entire living organisms are classified into two kingdoms, either plant or animal kingdom, in two kingdom system of classification. Then they are further subdivided into species, genus, family, order, class. So each of them represent a particular rank in taxonomic categories. So what is taxon? Taxon is a unit of classification which represents a rank. So unit of, like species is a particular rank in classification, the lowest rank of classification. It is the lowest rank of classification, that is called species. Okay. Now what is the definition of species? A group of interbreeding population, means a group of organisms which can interbreed among themselves. Interbreed means they can reproduce among themselves to produce a fertile offspring, is called species. Like one example I will give, human being is a species which belongs to Homo sapiens. Sapiens is a species, isn't it? Now, if I say mule, mule is not a species because it is a hybrid of horse and donkey, and it has not the capacity to reproduce, so it cannot be called as a species. Okay. Species means those organisms which has the power of reproduction, which can regenerate its own members. Now what is genus? Genus is a group of closely related species. When many species of different groups, they show some characters which are particularly similar to each other, that is called genus. So learn all the definition. What is family? Family is a group of related genus or genus is called family. So next stage we have the family, starting from lowest to highest. After that, example, the family to which tiger as well as the cat belongs, that is the same family which is called Felidae. F-E-L-I-D-A-E. It means they show the characters which are similar to each other, tiger as well as the cat. So they belong to the same family. Similarly, I will give the example of genus. Like Panthera is the name of the genus, So Panthera leo is the scientific name of lion, whereas tiger also shows certain characters which are like they have closely related genus. So Panthera leo is the scientific name of lion and Panthera tigris is the scientific name of tiger. It means both of them the genus name is common, that is Panthera. Okay. So genus differs from the genus of other families. Then we have the order. Order means a group of closely related genus. This one, a group of closely related, like order of, we can say one example, the order to which man belongs is primates. Similarly, housefly belongs to the order called Diptera and mango belongs to the order called Sapnideals. So what is the definition of order? You can write is order is the rank in classification. It is a higher category in which the families which show similar characters are placed together. All those families which have similar characters, they are placed together in the next order, in the next rank of classification, which is called order. Then we have the class, like mammals belongs to the class Mammalia. Similarly, the frogs and all belongs to the class, that is amphibians. So there are 5 different classes to which the mammals belong. Okay, like apes, reptilia, that is different class. Okay, Mammalia, that is different class. So we will study about the different types of class. So what is class? Like order Primata consists of monkey, gorilla, gibbon, and they are placed in one particular class, that is Mammalia. Why? Because all of them show certain common characters, that is they are warm-blooded animals. Then next one, class Mammalia has other orders also. Phylum is the largest, or a group of closely related class is called phylum. Like the phylum to which different animals belong, we can say the phylum to which man belongs. What is a phylum? It is Chordata. Why? Because they have the presence of knot of cord. Similarly, the phylum to which housefly belongs is Arthropoda. So we will study about all those houseflies and all. Then next is kingdom. The entire living organisms are placed in 2 kingdoms, that is plant kingdom, animal kingdom. So all the animals which belongs to different phyla, they are placed in the highest category called animal kingdom. And this system of classification is 2 kingdom system of classification, in which the living organism is either placed in plant kingdom or in animal kingdom according to the Okay, welcome back. Then we are already doing about the different taxonomical categories, starting from the species, which is the smallest rank of classification. We have the next genus, family, order, class, phylum, or division. In case of plants, it is division. In animals, it is called phylum, the group of closely related class, and the last one is kingdom. So this one shows the taxonomical categories which are arranged from highest to lowest or from lowest to highest. So lowest being the species and highest being the kingdom. Like kingdom is plant kingdom or animal kingdom. Next in the syllabus we have to study is taxonomical aids. Taxonomical aids are those different tools which are used to distinguish between the different characters of an organism. Example is given in a book. For identification of organisms, it requires laboratory and field studies, and the collection of specimens of plants and animals is essential to do the study of taxonomical categorization. Okay. Now what is herbarium? Herbarium sheet is if you take the paper and collect the different plant specimens and put them inside the chart paper, if you write the name of the date of the collection, then from where the source, from where it was collected, and then you can also write the plant that you have collected, what is the classification of that plant which you have collected, where it is growing or habitat of that plant, as well as the person who has collected. Suppose that plant has been collected by you, so you can write your name also, and like this we can arrange all the paste it with the help of different types of adhesives which are available in the market, or you can put a plastic film around it and preserve it for many days. So it is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried pressed and preserved on the paper sheets. Then comes Botanical Garden. Botanical Garden, you have seen, they are the place where many different varieties of plants are found growing, and in those botanical gardens you can have the collection of all the living plants for reference. Like if you want to see a plant of, suppose you want to see a plant of the category, we can say non-flowering plant you want to see, okay, then you can go and see in that botanical garden which is that non-flowering plant. If you want to see a plant which belongs to, suppose in aquatic region it is found, like pondweed, that also you can have a look at the botanical garden. The biggest botanical garden is Kew in England, and Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah in India, whereas the National Botanical Research Institute, it is located in Lucknow, that is the capital of Uttar Pradesh. Now next is museum. You must have seen the biological museum is a place where all the preserved specimens of all types, like both plants, animals, even the artificial things are preserved. Like Victoria Memorial in Kolkata is also a museum where all the preserved clothing, then the guns and different types of materials which was used by the royal family is being preserved in the glass sheets. Okay, so in the museums we can get the different types of plants and animal specimens also. Large animals like birds and mammals are stuffed and they are preserved. So museums have collections of skeletons of animals also, like you can get the skeleton of dinosaurs inside the museum, as well as the other animals like mammoth, which is an extinct, both of them are extinct animals. Now next is Geological Park. Geological Park is the place where wild animals are kept in their protected environment, like the government has set up certain biological or the geological parks in which the animals are allowed to live freely without any interference. Means the human beings are not allowed to do hunting there. If found hunting, then they will be caught by the police, which is there, like the rangers in the forest area, and they can also find them or put them behind the bars. So geological parks is the place where they are kept, and we can learn about their food habits and behavior if we go for the mountain, this night safari, and look at the habitat of the animals like tiger, where they live, what type of food they eat. So their habits we can study about it, and their behavior also. What are keys? Keys are based on contrasting characters which are generally in a pair, that is called couplet, and it represents the choice between the two opposite actions. Like one example is given, if a plant is selected whether flowering or non-flowering, two options are there, that is the couplet. If flowering, okay, tick mark. Then next, what type of plant it is? If it is flowering, is it monocot having one cotyledon in the seeds or two cotyledons? If monocot, that is having a single cotyledon, the plant will be called monocot. If having two cotyledons, it is called dicot. Okay, and then the question answers are there. Now next, chapter number 2, biological classification. What is biological classification? The grouping of different types of organisms, that is both plants and animals, into separate categories is called biological classification. Two kingdom system of classification was given by Linnaeus. It was a previous attempt in which the entire living organisms were grouped into only two classes, either plant kingdom or animal kingdom. It was not successful. Why? Because many living things which show the character of both plants and animals were kept there, and those organisms which show neither the character of plants nor the animals were also kept in those categories. So that's why it was not possible for the scientists to run or to continue with the two kingdom classification. Later on, 5 kingdom system of classification was given by a scientist called R.H. Whittaker in 1969, and he had classified all the organisms into 5 kingdoms. What are they? Monera, Protista, Fungi, plant and animal kingdom. Okay. So what is Monera? One by one we will study the characteristics of all this. Like Monera is a prokaryotic. Rest all the 4 different types, they are eukaryotic. Prokaryotic means such a primitive cell in which the nucleus does not contain a nuclear membrane. It means the nuclear material is dispersed in the whole cytoplasm. Whereas the rest all, that is Protista, Fungi, plant, Animalia, they have eukaryotic cell in which they have a true nucleus with a nuclear membrane around it. So you know that in the prokaryotic cell, certain cell organelles are also absent, but in eukaryotic cell all the cell organelles are present. Okay. Then the next characteristic is moneras is a group of bacteria, and bacteria, you know, they are cosmopolitan in distribution, found everywhere in air, water, soil. They are microscopic, so they can be seen only with the help of microscope. And you know that these bacteria, they are both beneficial as well as harmful also. Like some of them are used for the fermentation process. Bacteria are used for this process of decomposition, so that bacteria and fungi, both of them are the natural decomposers, which helps to clean the debris of our environment. Means all the waste is degraded with the help of bacteria. They are also used in the conversion of milk into curd as well as for cheese making. So many useful products of or the uses of bacteria is there. But bacteria are also harmful in the sense they are pathogens, and they causes different types of diseases, not only in animals but also in plants. Then we study about the Protista. What type of mode of nutrition is there in bacteria? Some of the bacteria have chlorophyll, so they can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis because they contain the chlorophyll. But remaining or the majority of the bacteria, they are heterotrophic, that is, they depend on others for their food. That is, on the organism on which they survive. Then comes Protista. Protista is present in they have a cell wall. In case of bacteria, the cell wall is made up of non-cellulosic part. It is called peptidoglycania. Whereas in Protista, the cell wall is present in some organisms only, not in all. They have a nuclear membrane, their body organization is cellular, and the type of nutrition they have, that is Protista, they can be autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Then comes fungi. Fungi they have the cell wall which is without cellulose, and their mode of nutrition is heterotrophic, that is, either they can be saprophytic, means they will feed on the dead and decomposed matter, or they will be parasitic, that is, living on the body of the host and derive nutrition from them. Then we have the plant kingdom, animalia kingdom. Already we know about the plants that they are autotrophic, they can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis, whereas animals are heterotrophic. Plants have the cell wall, whereas in animal cell there is no such cell wall, only the cell membrane is present. Okay. Now next we have to study is kingdom Monera in detail. Kingdom Monera consists of all the bacteria, as I said, and bacteria are of different shape and size. So what are the different shapes of bacteria? Like some of them may be spherical in bacteria, some of them may be rod-shaped bacteria, they are called bacillus, they are called the one which is spherical or round in shape, they are called coccus. So according to their shape, different names are given. Some of them are spiral, they are called spirilla, just like a spring. Some of them are comma shaped, that is called vibrio. So depending on their shape, different names of bacteria are there. Now next is the bacteria some of them are autotrophic, already I said, because they contain chlorophyll, so they can make their own food. Bacteriochlorophyll is present inside their body. But majority of them are heterotrophic, that is, they can be saprophytic or they can be even parasitic. Now next is Archaebacteria. Archaebacteria is the group of primitive bacteria which is found in such conditions where life is not possible. And three different types of these Archaebacteria are there. Like those bacteria which are found growing in such areas where plenty of salt is there, they are called halophils. Halo means salt, phils means lover. So salty areas, those bacteria which are found growing in hot springs, they are called thermoacidophils. Those bacteria which are found growing in marshy places where the soil is very loose, that is called marshy areas where mangrove plantation is found. Such bacteria are called methanogens. Why they are called methanogens? Because they are the one which produces methane gas. Because methane gas is produced from such places. Okay? And methanogens are also found in the stomach and intestine, that is in the gut of ruminants like cows and buffaloes. Means they can also produce methane gas, and they are responsible for the production of methane, that is biogas. Now comes the Eubacteria. Eubacteria means those bacteria which are also known as true bacteria. They have a rigid cell wall and they can move with the help of a whip-like structure which is called flagellum. So there may be one flagellum at one end or one flagellum on either end of bacterial cell. Okay. So if they have a flagellum, they can swim from one place to the other, and they are called motile. If they do not have, they are non-motile. Okay. Some of them are photosynthetic because they can produce their own food. Others are chemosynthetic bacteria. Chemosynthetic means the bacteria which will not use sunlight to make their food. Instead of that, they will use certain chemicals to get the energy for making out their food or to carry out the process of this photosynthesis. Example of the bacteria are like certain nitrogen fixing bacteria are also there, which helps to change the atmospheric nitrogen gas into soluble nitrates that can be available to the plants for their use. Okay, now next one is Mycoplasma. What is Mycoplasma? They are the smallest bacterial cells. PPLO it is called, pleuropneumonia-like organisms, and they are the smallest cells. And these mycoplasma are organisms that do not have the cell wall. They are the smallest living cells. They are known and they can survive without oxygen. They are pathogenic in nature and they can cause disease. Then next we have kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista consists of all the eukaryotes, means they have a true nucleus with a nuclear membrane. And what may be a photosynthetic protist to one biologist, like one biologist may think that the Protista is photosynthetic. For the same protist, the geologist will think, like a person who study about animals, they will consider it as an animal, but some of them will consider it as a plant. Like example, I will say Euglena is such a protist that shows the characters of both plants as well as animals, because it has characteristics of both of them. It can prepare its own food as well as it shows the characters of animals. Then we have the different types of kingdom Protista, like chrysophytes. They include diatoms and golden algae, which are called jasmids. They are microscopic and they float on the surface of water with the help of water current. That's why they are also called planktons. And they are photosynthetic, and the diatomaceous earth is the deposition of these diatoms at the bottom of the sea floor, which is used in the filtration of oils and syrups as well as for polishing, and they are the chief producers in the ocean. Means they are the one which carry out photosynthesis in the oceans. Then we have dinoflagellates, the next one. Okay, next one I was saying about dinoflagellates. They are mostly marine, means found in seawater, and photosynthetic. The examples are the red dinoflagellates, that is example Gonilex and Gymnodium. Two examples you have to learn and two characters of each of them. They are of different colors like yellow, green, brown or red, depending on the pigments which are present in their body. Like you may have heard the word Red Sea. The Red Sea is due to deposition of this Gymnodium, which is found in the Red Sea because of the red tides. Then comes eulenoids. Already I said eulenoids is a group of protists that show the characters of both plants as well as animals. Example Euglena, they have a outermost covering of their body which is made up of protein called pellicle, so that they can be flexible in their shape. Then comes slime molds. Like slime molds are saprophytic. Saprophytic means they will feed on the dead and decaying organic matter. Example you can give a plasmodium. Plasmodium is the organism which causes malaria. So that is a malarial parasite and it is under slime molds. The body moves or it go along with it is a parasite, so it is found in the body of organisms like mosquitoes and human beings that causes malaria, and they reproduce with the help of spores, which are tiny bodies that is dispersed with the help of air currents. Then we have protozoans. Protozoans, they are the heterotrophs. It is the group of organisms which cannot make their own food, and they live as predators, that is feeding on others, or as parasite by depending on other organisms for their food and shelter. They are primitive relatives of animals it is supposed to be. Okay, the 4 groups of protozoans are amoeboid, the one which is like amoeba, flagellated protozoans that contains flagella, example trypanosoma that causes sleeping sickness which is a type of parasite. Then we have ciliated protozoans like paramecium which has cilia all over its body, and the sporozoans that include plasmodium, that is malarial parasite, not that previous one which I said slime mold. Slime mold is not there, it's not included in that plasmodium. Okay, then we studied about the different types of kingdom fungi. Fungi is a group of organisms which are not photosynthetic, they do not contain chlorophyll, they are heterotrophic organisms, and they are also decomposers. Along with the bacteria, they are called the decomposers. Bacteria and fungi, both of them help to break down the dead and decaying organic matter. So in their mode of nutrition is heterotrophic, and they reproduce with the help of like formation of spores only, which are produced inside their body. They can be saprophyte, they can be parasites, or they can be symbiotic also. Like we find that the fungi when lives with the algae, like algae and fungi, both of them lives in a symbiotic association, it is called lichens. And when the fungi is found in the roots of higher plants, that association is called mycorrhiza. Okay, now next we have what is the sexual cycle involves the fusion of gametes, that is fusion of protoplasm which is called plasmogamy, fusion of nucleus is called karyogamy. Already I had discussed all this in the interactive class. Then we studied about the phycomycetes. Phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats. They are found growing on decaying wood in the moist and damp places. Example I said was the mushroom, which is edible and it is a good source of protein. Mucor rhizopus, the bread mold, and albugo, the parasitic fungus, comes under Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes means the club fungi we say. Then we have Ascomycetes, the sac fungi. Example penicillium. Penicillium is the one from which penicillin, the first antibiotic, was obtained. Then we studied about the Basidiomycetes, in which mushroom or agaricus is found, and its characteristics, 2 characteristics. Then Deuteromycetes, which is also known as fungi imperfecti, and the 2 examples of this one also we had done. Then the plant kingdom and animal kingdom already we have to do. The last topic which we had done was virus, viroids and lichens. So what is virus? Virus is such a living organism that it is present on the boundary line between living and non-living. Means it can show the characters of living things also as well as non-living things also. So next we have to start today is the 3rd chapter, that is plant kingdom. In plant kingdom, you have to study the characteristics of plant kingdom. Like number 1, they are autotrophic, they can prepare their own food. Number 2, plant kingdom consists of the organisms which have a cell wall, that is the plant cell has a cell wall made up of cellulose. And the plants are generally autotrophic. Mostly they are fixed at one place. They cannot move from one place to the other, except some aquatic plants which can float, or they can move along with the water current from one place to the other. They are called planktons. Then what is the artificial and natural system of classification and phylogenetic? 3 systems of classification are there. You have to learn the definition of each one of them. So we can continue with this one in the next class. Okay, today up to here only. After watching this video, you can write your name in the comments, and then we can continue with our interactive classes also as well as these video classes. Thank you.